views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
This is your moment. Gather together each week to follow leadership by example, love, and inspiration. Welcome to Miracles of Holistic Health and Wellness with one of the most prominent naturopathic doctors in this country, as well as a leading detoxification and environmental illness specialist. Now, here's your host, Dr. Roni.
Hello. This is Dr. Roni, your host. And this show is Miracles of Holistic Health and Wellness. And there are truly a lot of miracles. And today is so special. I'm so excited about today. I have a special guest on, and you are going to want to know this person. If you don't already know him, his name is Robert Zuckerman. And Robert, I am so excited to have you on today. Robert is the world's renowned Hollywood film photographer. He is the author of Kindsight. He's part of the Bold Beauty Project, and he's a wonderful, great motivational speaker, and I can't wait to hear all of his motivational speaks because of a devastating genetic illness, progressive illness that Robert has called APBD, Adult Polyglucosan Body Disorder. And I'm going to let Robert tell you all about this. Robert is an amazing person. I wish the world could know about him sooner, and I wish the world will eventually know about him. He has so many different things he has to talk to you about. We actually have 2 shows with Robert today, and we have a show next week with Robert because there's just so much. Robert is a joy to know. He is a light. He has great intentions, and I'm going to let Robert tell you about some of the things that he has done in his life and still some of the things that Robert still has to do. He will share with us his journey. Robert, welcome to Miracles of Holistic Health and Wellness, and I'm so excited to have you on today. I've been talking back and forth with a few people that you know, and I'm just so delighted. I want you to share your journey with our listeners because it's such a joy to hear it, even though it comes from a chronic illness. And I know you probably know a little bit about the show that I specialize in 21 chronic illness. And lately I've been doing a lot of work with Lyme disease, prior to that cancer, and I do have a lot of clients that have neurological diseases as well. But your story is very special to me, and I'd like for you to share your journey with our listeners today.
Oh, well, thank you for that introduction. I mean, I want to know that guy that you introduced. But yes, it's a great honor to be here. And yes, as you said, I have this late onset genetic disease. I'm now 60 years of age. When I was in my late 40s, I began limping and falling and having mobility impairment. Up to that time, I had been, pretty much normal and healthy and did a lot of physical activities, but then I began limping and falling and losing my balance, and it slowly progressed, and it took a long time. I began seeing a neurologist. I was living in Los Angeles, and underwent many, typical tests of MRIs, and I had a lumbar puncture, otherwise known as a spinal tap, and many numerous tests. And at first they thought maybe it was MS or some other, neurological thing, but then those were ruled out. And then after about 4 or 5 years of being in one place, I wasn't really satisfied, so I decided to try some other people, and I went to UCLA. And after maybe 2 or 3 years there, I connected with a doctor there who had kind of caught wind of my case and had an inkling or wanted to see me, and his name was Dr. Fogel, or is Dr. Fogel. And so I underwent there 2 genetic tests and 2 biopsies, a muscle biopsy and a sural nerve biopsy, and some enzyme tests. And eventually, after almost 8 years of trying to figure out what it was, I was diagnosed with, as you said, APBD, or Adult Polyglucosan Body Disease, which is a at this point, untreatable, late onset, genetic disease that comes through both parents. And it has to do with, I have a little sheet here that I can refer to or read, but it has to do with the glycogen branching enzyme, and that the glucose in the body is not processed properly, and it has impact on the nerves. So as of now, I would say about 12 years into this, I'm now paraplegic, and sorry about that. Paraplegic and in a wheelchair, and but I feel strong, and as we talked earlier, I feel that they say somehow when one sensor, one ability gets suppressed, other ones become stronger, and I just feel that even though I'm very challenged physically in many ways, that I feel strong and really as strong as ever. So I'm kind of branching into a new chapter of my life. After being in the Hollywood film business for about 30 years, and 25 of those as a photographer, I'm now living in Miami and getting into something that I've always had a passion for, which is education and speaking, and trying to make the world a better place. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, Robert, one of the things that I hear about you, and with everything that I've been hearing you say, how is it that you wake up every single day? First, I want to know about your day. But the thing that I like for the listeners to hear, because you are truly an amazing person, how is it that with your condition in a wheelchair that you still manage to get up, go visit your mother who's in a nursing home, and your sister who's a quadriplegic, and you take care of them? Who takes care of you? You take care of you plus them? How are you able to do all of this?
Good.
I have some clients that need to hear this.
Yeah, good question. I mean, I think that I've had, we learn things along the way in life, and I feel that I've had some good lessons and when you learn to see things in a certain way, it kind of changes how the world is. So I've, number one, you mentioned my sister. I have actually a half sister. We have different fathers, but we grew up together. My younger sister Patty. And she has a different condition than I do, and much earlier onset in her life. But she's become quadriplegic. She wasn't born that way, but that's how she is now. And so she's kind of my grounding wire in a way that gives me perspective, because I wish that even she could be like me. And she can't talk or use her hands or swallow food. At least I can do those things, and I wish that she could be like me. So it's good to have no matter how bad things are for one person, there's always someone who's worse off. So she gives me perspective. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is there's a great quote. I probably have like half a dozen or a dozen quotes that have really helped me get through life, as much as any PhD or college degree. And one of them is from a guy named Art Linkletter. And he, for those who don't know, he was a TV personality in the 1960s. But he has some really good quotes, and one of them that says, things turn out best for people who make the best of how things turn out. And, that's kind of really helped me through a lot of hurdles, just making the best of things. And so, I don't know. I'm not really sure what the magic ingredient is, but that's part of it.
So, but they are doing some great research with this condition, APBD.
Yeah.
And I looked it up a little bit, and it's devastating. I worked at Yale New Haven Hospital in my younger days, and they had rare syndromes. They were flying in some of the rarest of these genetic disorders from all over, out of the country, actually, to fly to Yale New Haven Hospital's research center.
Yeah.
And you are very fortunate, because I hear that you're part of some research that they have, and you may be one of those people that actually help a lot of people in the future.
Yeah.
I know they're looking for a cure, and I wish and hope all the best for you. And all those people out there that have this condition, and I know it's rare, they need to be very, very grateful and thankful for somebody like you who not only struggle every single day to keep yourself together, but you still every single day help others. And I think that's one of the things that I commend you with. I talk a lot about, nutritional aspects of how to help people with their chronic illness.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I always talk about is that, because I have to give people motivation, and I know you're a motivational speaker, but, what I try to do is I try to help people physically. I put them on nutritional protocols, and I try to give them nutrition for their brain, because when you have a chronic illness, it's very difficult to get up and face the day, and you need nutrition to do that. And so one of the foods that I talk about a lot in my latest 2 years, I've been talking a lot about IV drips, but in the last year I've been talking about this food called Yavo Food that has changed not only my life, but it's changed a lot of my clients' lives, because this particular food has all the vitamins in it. And with you've got this neurological condition. One of the things that really helps neurological conditions is B vitamins. Because the first thing you have to remember is when you have a chronic illness, you are extremely stressed. You have to be stressed. You live with a condition like this every single day. Yeah. So what gets you going every day is not only oxygen, but you have to have all the nutrients in your day to keep you going. Like you have to have 14 vitamins, 14 minerals. You have to have essential fatty acids. You have to have good fiber. You have to have great enzymes. And, these are the things that you have to put in your body so that you can wake up and face this disaster that you're faced with that comes from a chronic illness. And one of my clients is before, not only that I have a neurological chronic illness, she says, but it gets in the way of my day-to-day, because when I go outside of my home, I have to struggle in my wheelchair to get from one place to the next. So I'm constantly using my brain all day, constantly use my brain. So I offer brain food for a lot of these people. And so what I'm telling you is that it's the B vitamins that's in this food that will help your brain. Like a lot of people don't understand. We have, like, for an example, B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B7, B9, B12. These are called B complex. It plays a role in keeping our immune system very, very healthy. It plays a role in converting our food into energy. It helps to repair our DNA. It helps to regulate our hormones, helps with our adrenal glands so that we're not so stressed. We can't live without B vitamins. And I'll tell you, Robert, one of the things that people don't realize why they're very stressed, like they get to work. They're at work for 2 hours, and you hear people, they've only been at work at 2 hours, and they go, oh, my goodness, I wish I can go back home and go to bed. Yeah. And I said, well, that's because your adrenal glands are not working at an optimal level. You need to have B vitamins. So if you wake up and you eat food with B vitamins in it, or protein smoothies that have a lot of B vitamins, you can start your day. But you have something very special about you, and that is that and I want you to talk about your emotional health, because it's got to be sort of almost natural. Or if it's a learned behavior, Robert, then I want you to tell us all, because we're listening. We want to know, how do you do it every day?
Well, that's a good question. I'm just making notes on what you were talking about the vitamins. And, maybe we could talk about that also off the air. But, again, it's like, I think it's one's mental attitude and how one sees things. Like there's that one quote that I mentioned about things turn out best, but also, there's another, I think, well, let me just backtrack a little bit. I think in life, like when you're a teenager and you have maybe your first relationship and you break up, you think it's the end of the world and you're never going to survive. But after you survive things, and you go through things, then you somehow know that it's going to be okay and that you're going to survive. It's going to be all right. And, you've been through life, and everyone has a life story. I've had my own story. I've been through a lot of stuff in my life, and I've survived somehow. So, you get to know that you're gonna be able to survive situations. And I've also found in life that a lot of times negative things or dark things or challenges are really veils for something good behind them, even if you can't actually see the thing behind them. But if you have faith and knowledge, then you know that somehow something's going to be good. And if you stay open to it, then it's kind of like that old movie quote, if you build it, he will come. if you believe in something, then it's going to happen. So I've been able to kind of make my way or navigate, through life with that knowledge. There's another quote that I really like that when I think about my sister Patty. It's from an ancient, and I'm probably not getting his name pronounced correctly, but it's Heraclitus or Heraclitus, who's a Greek sage from the days long gone by. And one of the things he said is that you won't discover the limits of the soul, however far you go. And, to me, a lot of people think they see someone in a wheelchair and say, I wouldn't want to be like that, or see someone like my sister Patty, who can't really talk, but, you can tell by looking at her eyes that she's, got a lot of spirit and life in her. And, sometimes you don't know until you get there how it's going to be. So, I never imagined that I'd be in a wheelchair, but here I am. And life is extremely rich for me every day. When I was younger, and we were younger, we wanted to go out to the nightclub or do something exciting. Now, I feel like I could sit in front of my building all day long, and life would be rich just in interacting with the people passing by. So, a lot of it is how one sees things, I believe. And
yes, it is how that. And I want you, when we come back from break, we're going to go to break in a few minutes. I want you to talk about what's your message to people out there with a neurological condition, and what do you think that they should do different than what you've done, or what do you think they should have done the same? Because I think you're doing great. And I love that quote, and I think you really reflect this quote, and we talked about it, and you said that every day it's the feeling can look at you, that every day you should wake up and do what you do as if the feeling is looking at you. Is that how it goes? I would love for you to say that quote. I love that quote, because that quote reminds me of you, because I believe you've been like this most of your life. And I'm sure you're conditioned by, finding out that you've got this devastating neurological chronic illness that's really progressive, have changed you a little bit. But I believe that your spirit from the bottom of your heart has always been this way. Am I wrong? I've heard people say this.
Well, no, I think it has, and I think I told you the story earlier. Do I have time to tell it, or should we just go to break and when we get back?
Okay, so when we come back, I would like you to share and talk a little bit about your book called Kindsight.
Oh, okay. That'll be great.
Stanis is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
Do you want the freedom to spend more time with your loved ones? Travel the world? Live spontaneously? Get ready, because the Chip Justice Show is here. Hosts Dr. Pat Basile and Chip Justice can help you build meaningful success while embracing life. Living a life you love is the end game in this new, inspirational, and empowering show. Positive changes for a life you'll love. Tune in every month on TransformationTalkRadio.com and visit PositiveChangeInstitute.co for more information.
Naturopathic doctor, founder of the Martha's Vineyard Holistic Retreat, and author of the New York Times bestseller 21 Pounds in 21 Days, Dr. Roni DeLuce has helped tens of thousands of people, including celebrities and athletes, with her message of lifestyle change. Now Dr. Roni DeLuce wants to help you. You too can be saved. Email Dr. Roni DeLuce at info@RoniDeLuceOnRadio.com and visit mvholisticretreat.com. Dr. Roni DeLuce, your partner in wellness.
Hi everyone, this is Dr. Pat. The ancient Inca root vegetable maca is world-renowned for its wide array of health benefits. As a family-run company of true maca specialists, the maca team's mission is to provide you with fresh, organic, premium quality maca powders at a fair price. Amazing. All of the products are always organically grown, fair traded, GMO-free, fresh, and potent. So don't take my word for it. Experience the life-changing benefits of maca today. Visit themacateam.com.
Almost everyone at some time in their lives ask themselves, what am I? Most of our questions are ego-generated and simply don't address the problem of our false self. It's time to relax your ego and embody your soul. Dr. Dan Cohen, neurologist, inventor, and author, has created tools to awaken a new way to transform from who you thought you were into what you truly are. Visit toolstoawaken.com today.
Hi, I'm Tim Darter.
And I'm Steve Kramer.
Join us on Spirit Fire Radio. Discover how to add the mechanics of meditation to your day.
And watch yourself connect in a whole new way. Find the amazing moments in life's routines that often pass us by. Add to your awareness with Spirit Fire Radio.
Tune in each Wednesday at 9 a.m. for your weekly guide to practical mindfulness. And to learn more, visit www.spiritfireradio.com.
Hello, this is Dr. Roni, and we are talking with Robert Zuckerman, and he's a renowned Hollywood film photographer and author of Kindsight, and he's part of the Bold Beauty Project. And I want to tell you that he's someone very special, and I brought him in to speak today because I deal with a lot of neurological patients and clients that, for me, Robert, is one of the hardest conditions, the hardest illness, because when you're dealing with the neurological system, you're dealing with depression and anxiety, lack of motivation, you don't have any get up and go. And I feed a lot of my clients with B vitamins and foods that have 43 essential nutrients in it. But there are some people that it's even difficult for me to get them to eat that food or drink the protein smoothies because their adrenals are so exhausted, and they have a hormone imbalance, and there's just a lot of other things that come with the chronic condition. And I do a lot of emotional work with them. You must find it very difficult to see with your condition how well you're doing, but yet you see someone that has a less of an illness than you do, but yet they can't seem to get it together, like the person that has diabetes but just can't stop eating candy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. I actually have a friend whose father passed away from diabetes, and he just was not able to give up drinking and smoking and those other things, and he ended up in a hospital with with both legs amputated, and it was really very sad thing. But it's just human nature, and it's tough, especially I think with our eating habits. We get very used to, like, how can we possibly eat something without salt or like that, and it's a very difficult thing. I'm not sure how it is. I mean, we talked during the break about how my father had once talked to me and told me sometimes you can't, as much as you want to change people or get them to see things in a different way, sometimes it's just not possible, or at least in the time frame that you want, it's not possible, and you just have to accept them as they are. And we all have different, I think we all have different makeups about how we're able to view things and see things. I've been very fortunate that I've had experiences and people that have helped me, have a certain perspective on things. And one of the perspectives is that, another person that I was very lucky to have worked with a number of times over like the past 13 or so years is Will Smith. And he has a great quote, which is that 99% is the same as nothing. In other words, either give 100% or don't bother. And that's also something that's kind of helped me, is just to put everything in, do your best, whatever it is. So like I said, I think how you see the world is what the world, is how you experience life is, and how you're able to have that perspective. So,
well,
go ahead.
you wrote the book Kindsight, and
Yes.
I want people to go to your blog because I hear so many great things. Kindsight.blogspot.com. I would like to know, while you were writing that, was it mostly after your illness or before your illness, and what is it about that blog that you can help people? Tell me some things about that blog that will help some of the listeners with this neurological. I know I have several people listening that have neurological illness.
Yeah. Well, Kindsight came about, when I got into photography, it's, I obviously did it because I wanted to have create a career where I could help the people that I care about. But you get into something and you want to be able to do some good through what you do, just like you obviously help a lot of people through what you do. And, I wanted to be able to do that with photography. And I always felt myself, through photography, leaning toward the personal side of things. And in other words, like I'd be on a movie set in a neighborhood and I'd turn the camera around and photograph the people in the neighborhood who were watching us. I was always really interested in the personal dimension of things. And after 9/11 happened, I was talking to a close friend of mine, and we came to the conclusion that the antidote to terror is in the richness of everyday life that's around us at all times. So, instead of the world, being a place of terror, I wanted to really show the goodness. And so I began documenting just random encounters that I'd have with people anywhere. It could be on a street, on a bus, in a store, and just take a moment, and just an ordinary random moment, and with a photograph and like a little paragraph of text underneath it, just document that moment. And I started doing that, as I said, shortly after 9/11 in early 2002. And what I did was the first piece that I wrote, did the photo with a little paragraph below it, and I emailed it around to friends and associates, and I got a very positive response. People really liked the personal aspect of the stories, and it was a response from across the board. Different people of different, religions and ethnicities and outlooks on life. Somehow people seem to all gravitate toward this. And then I did another one and another one, and I kept getting a positive response. And finally, I remember one time I emailed around some big movie poster that I had photographed, and someone wrote me back, "Well, nice poster, but I like the stories better." So I kind of knew that I was onto something, just touching a personal vein and sending these stories around, and began doing it. And after a couple of years of doing it, people started asking me, "When's the book coming out? When's the book coming out?" So eventually, in 2004, I started shopping it around. I put together what they call it a dummy book. It's like a prototype, and I have like maybe 100 pieces in an album, and I would send it around to different publishers. And a lot of the photography book companies, kind of are old school, and they said, "Well, you can't have writing with photos. That's not, pure art." But I said, "Hey, people like it." So I kept going, and finally I found a publisher. Well, it was a friend of mine in New York who had a coffee table book company in New Mexico, and then he folded that and then resurfaced in New York in late 2004. His name was James Crump, and he loved these things, and so he helped me get my first book, Kindsight, published, and that was published in like early 2005. And even though it was a small company and a relatively small, print run of 3,000, I got a lot of positive response to it. I ended up doing book signings, in all the major bookstores in New York and Los Angeles and San Francisco and Chicago and Miami. And, it was listed on different websites, and I began getting, responses from people pretty much all over the planet. So something I've kept doing since then. And it's just, I didn't originally call it Kindsight. I was calling it something else. And then one day I was just walking down the street, and that popped into my head. And so that's what, that was what the book was named. And it's basically Kindsight is seeing the world with kind eyes. So it's going to be, I knew it's a lifelong project and something I still do, and I'm going to keep doing probably.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I know what your goal is going to be, but I know what your goal should be. But tell me what your goal is. And for all of those who just signed on and is listening to us for the first time during this show, we have one of the most amazing persons, Robert Zuckerman, talking about his journey with a very difficult, devastating, progressive illness called APBD, adult polyglucosan body disorder. And we are talking to him about his journey and his condition because we have so many people out there, maybe not with this rare illness, but with many of the neurological illnesses and diseases out there. We realize that most people will benefit if they feed their body high doses or maximum nutrition food that have B vitamins in it, because B vitamins help you with the neurological system, but it also helps you with dealing with the stress of a chronic illness. It also helps you to support your immune system, and it also helps you with your hair, skin, and nails and your organs. And that's B complex. And Yavo foods today have loads of B vitamins in it. It has 14 essential vitamins, 14 essential minerals, 2 essential fats, and loaded with protein. It is one of those foods that I talk about a lot because it has changed my life because I was under a lot of stress, and it changed a lot of my clients' lives, especially with their chronic illness such as what Robert has. And Robert, it is amazing to hear you tell these stories, and I know that we need to have a show with you again next week. But I wanted to also ask you this, because we have listeners out there, and we talked about one of my clients who just can't seem to get out of bed. Yeah. And there's many of them out there that just can't seem to make a move. And even giving them high doses of B complex and some of the essential amino acids, and I can feed them the best food, and this is the best food. But if there is something missing emotionally, if there's something missing that you just can't seem to find that love for yourself, doesn't that make it difficult? Because you seem to have such light, such love, not only for yourself, but for your family members, and that's what gets you going every single day.
Yeah. Well, it is, and it's, as we said, it's hard to make someone else see what you see in life. And, I just try to live by example. And, I feel like every single day I get up, if I go out to a store or just go out in the street, there are many opportunities for goodness and for being a good person and for helping others out. And it's just, it's kind of like you cross through a certain barrier in life. Another quote is from the writer Franz Kafka, and he said, there is a point of no return. That is the point that must be reached. In other words, you get to a certain point in your own development, your own growth, and you can't go back. So, I feel like I've been very fortunate to discover that and to see that, but it's also hard. You can't make someone else see that, at least not on a timetable. Sometimes if you just are a certain way, that they might see it in a certain way, over a period of time. One of my half sisters, who not the one who's quadriplegic, but I have another sister, Leslie, and she and her father, who was my stepfather, didn't get along for many years, and I see this in many families where people don't get along, and they end up living the rest of their life and missing out on the great relationship. And it seemed like that was going to happen with them. But then after many years, finally they had a reconciliation. And for the last 2 or 3 years of my stepfather's life, they were incredibly close. And it was just a really beautiful thing to see. So it gave me hope that anything is really possible in that way. But it doesn't always happen on the timetable that we want it to. So I don't really know. I don't have the specific answer for those people, but hopefully something will come along that will help them see things in a certain way. And
I have answers. Yeah. I have some answers, and I got one of those answers from listening to you, just in the short time that I've known you. And I pretty much know And when we come back, I'm going to talk about that because we have 1 minute to break.
Okay.
But I would like to talk about that. But I want people to know to go to kindsight.blogspot.com. And if you want to get some Yabo food for your brain, for your neurological condition, for your immune system, go to drronnie.myyabo.com and put in that ID number 6360. And I am going to be giving some free protein smoothies. Just all you have to do is give me your story, just a short story, to my email, drronniedeluz@gmail.com, and I will send you a bag of either oatmeal or rice, hot rice, or protein smoothies. So just go to drronnie.myyabo.com, put in that ID 6360, or Gmail me at drronniedeluz@gmail.com. And when we come back, more about how you can help yourself feel better, look better, and get better, even with the chronic illness.
Ready to experience Truth Talk Radio with host Deb Acker. Tune in to Truth Talk Radio each Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com to illuminate the truth in your daily life as you experience life, love, and abundance from a whole new perspective. This hit show will leave you feeling lighter and bring you into a place of infinite possibilities every day in every way. Visit TruthTalkRadioshow.com for upcoming transformative topics and guests.
Naturopathic doctor, founder of the Martha's Vineyard Holistic Retreat, and author of the New York Times bestseller 21 Pounds in 21 Days, Dr. Roni DeLuce has helped tens of thousands of people, including celebrities and athletes, with her message of lifestyle change. Now Dr. Roni DeLuce wants to help you. You too can be saved. Email Dr. Roni DeLuce at info@RoniDeLuceOnRadio.com and visit mtheholisticretreat.com. Dr. Roni DeLuce, your partner in wellness.
Francine Vale is a being of light. She believes that all people of planet Earth are as well. As co-host of the Angel Healer radio show, Francine teaches you heart-centered ways to manifest healing on your own behalf and how to integrate love more fully into your daily life. Connect with your angels as you find your life flowing with ease and harmony. Walk the path of light with Francine and Dr. Pat Basili every month on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
A word of caution, if you prefer the status quo and you are not interested in improving every aspect of your life, this book will trigger the shift out of you. The Truth is Funny, Shift Happens is available now. Author Colette Steffen brings the powerful knowledge and life-changing energy and empowerment from the radio airwaves to the pages of her new book. To get your copy in paperback or ebook, visit thetruthisfunny.com today.
Transformation Talk Radio is dedicated to the education and awareness of Lyme disease.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Lyme Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Pat, joined here by
Dr. Nusheen Darvish.
Dr. Pat Basili and Dr. Nusheen Darvish will be bringing the most innovative, groundbreaking information, research, treatment innovations, and stories from those it affects every day.
I'm so excited to be talking about this.
We have so much to share.
Dr. Darvish and I are planning to do is connect the dots.
People suffering with all sorts of chronic diseases, it's time. It is time for them to transform.
Tune into Lyme Talk Radio and help keep our mission strong.
For the loyal listeners out there that have been listening to this incredible show on Lyme disease, we are not going to let you down. We're going to come through stronger and enrich the platform for Lyme disease awareness through Lyme Talk Radio. The message will continue, the conversations will become stronger, and the healing epic.
Awaken to your radiant, authentic self. For over 15 years, Soul Purpose Advocate Nancy Monson has been focused on leading change in the lives of those looking to live their true purpose. She is devoted to supporting people and living a soul-directed life every day. Let Nancy help you overcome fear, worry, and doubt. Visit everydayspirituality.com to learn how Nancy can be your Soul Purpose Advocate.
Hello. This is Dr. Roni, your host, and this is Miracles of Holistic Health and Wellness. And we have been talking to Robert Zuckerman, and we have come to the end of this session, and I'm kind of sad because I can talk to him for at least 2 or 3 hours more, but we cannot. So I'm going to say this, Robert. Thank you so very much. I'm going to talk a little bit about how I can help you and all those out there with a chronic illness such as yours, or even worse. And I'd like to say to you, thank you for helping our listeners, because truly, 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 you are a blessing. And one of the things that I always tell my clients and listeners is that if you give your body maximum nutrition in small dosages throughout the day. Now, people will say, what is maximum nutrition? Maximum nutrition is those foods that come with essential nutrients in it. Those foods that you don't have to eat a lot of, but you still get the value of good nutrition. And that's what I mean by maximum nutrition in small dosages. So Yabo food is that type of food that I'm talking about. The other food that I'm talking about is juice. I will tell everyone you must drink a green juice every single day. Why is that? Because it's full of minerals, it oxygenates you, and it also helps to alkalize the body. So I like for people to understand maximum nutrition with Yabo foods, a green drink that's going to alkalize you, give you lots of minerals, give you energy, and we all need more and more energy today because we're living in a very not only physically toxic world, chemically toxic, but we also are in an emotional toxic world. So we need those things. The other thing that we really need that people don't seem to get enough of is probiotics. Probiotics help the body because we live in a toxic world, so we always have borderline bacteria in our body, so we give our body good bacteria, and that's what keeps the bad bacteria down. The other value that I'm going to give you is enzymes. Why enzymes? We all seem to think that what we eat is going to be utilized, but that's not all the time true. Our bodies have to have enough energy to take our food and put it at the cellular level. Now, you're going to say one thing about that is that if we drink our food, our nutrients, do we need a lot of enzymes? No, that's not true. You don't need a lot of enzymes when you drink your nutrition, and that's why I drink a lot of nutrition. But we can't drink all the time every day. So you can only do that when you're going on a detox. So when you're eating food, especially processed food or especially food that don't have a lot of nutrients in it, yes, you do need enzymes. I take enzymes every time I chew because my body needs it. I get a lot of energy when I do enzymes. So those are the 4 things that everyone should start doing today. And I'm going to leave one more thing because I know that this is important for a lot of people to understand is that if you have a chronic illness to the point where you can't get up and exercise, we still need to detox at the point where we need to sweat. Infrared heat is a very good thing to help someone to remove the toxins from the body. Because I know a lot of people tell me that they have cancer or they have a serious chronic illness that they can't exercise. So sweating is important to release toxins. So an infrared wrap. And there's a lot of infrared wraps out there. If you want to know about an infrared wrap, please go ahead and email me at drronideluz@gmail.com, and I'll tell you about the one that I use. So, Robert.
Yes.
Since we have a few minutes left, and I so enjoy talking to you, I want you to leave us with one of your, because you have a lot of quotes. I want you to leave us with one of your Kindsight quotes, because it really helps me, and if it helps me, I'm sure it helps a lot of people. Just leave us with that value, if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, first of all, can I just do a couple of really quick thank yous here? Just takes like 10 seconds. But I really want to thank 2 people who have actually helped lead me to you, Dr. Roni. One is Esther Liakina, who I was introduced to by Steve Joyner, who is a friend of mine from Fresno, California. So I really want to just give a shout out to those 2 people for making this possible. And I think it's very important in life to acknowledge people who help you along the way. And so I want to do that. One of the quotes that one of the things I say to students, because I do a lot of speaking with students, especially young people, is that often we can be, they say how we can be our own best friend or our own worst enemy. And sometimes it's a combination of both. But really a lot of times we're the ones that stop ourselves in life, and we're also the ones that empower ourselves. So that's something. And then another thing I say to students, especially when they're trying to aspire in their career, is that when someone tells you no, often that is yes with sunglasses on. Meaning that, for instance, if all the people in history stopped doing what they were doing when someone told them no, we'd still be living in caves. So I just think it's very important to believe. When you believe in yourself, you're going to get a lot of resistance, but to be persistent. And that leads me to another quote from a old Chinese sage named Lao Tzu, who said that steady wind shapes mountains. So if you believe in something, just be persistent and steadfast with it, and eventually something will happen. So those are my quotes. And then the very last one that I'm going to leave you with, as I said on the phone, it was told to me by a good friend of mine named Andre Ridgway out in California. He said, if it gets in the way, it is the way. So that means that often we have plans in life and people reject things if it doesn't fit into their plans, but often the unexpected moments in life are the ones that are really treasured. So that's, I think, going to be my final quote for the day. And I just really want to thank you for the opportunity. And I really want to hear more about what you have to say, too, because I also feel that a lot of times prevention and lifestyle are really the best, remedies for good health and good living.
Well, I want everybody to tune in to next week, more on neurological illness and how to help yourself to look better, feel better, and be better. And some of the things that we're going to be talking about next week is some supplements that will help you to get off of your feet, to help your immune system, and also to give you extra energy for the brain, because it starts right there with the brain, because the brain is what's going to tell you whether you need to get up right now if there's an emergency. I had lost a patient because their brain was so sluggish that there was a fire going on and he was still in bed, and he knew there was a fire going on, but the brain did not work that morning. So I have a lot of food value and a lot of nutrients to talk about next week on how to help your brain to survive a chronic illness. And I want to thank my guest, Robert Zuckerman, because he was truly, truly a joy. He's helped me, and he's helped so many people today on this show. So, Robert, thank you so very much for being on the show, and I'll see you next week, and hopefully we will meet again sooner.
Thank you, Dr. Roni. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Dr. Roni, Miracles of Holistic Health and Wellness. Tune in every Friday, 3 p.m. for more exciting guests and surprising stories. Visit her website at drroniholistichealth.com. Skype her at Roni.Deleuze. Tweet at twitter.com Dr. Roni. Or call and leave a text at 774-208-2477.
The life you're dreaming of is waiting for you to say yes. Together, we can create a powerful, love-centered world where business is not a competition, but a community of highly conscious individuals making a positive impact in their own lives and the lives of others. Fun, flexible, fabulous. You make the rules. We offer the tools. Connect with Shelley today to learn more at Live, Love, Learn with Shelley. That's SHELLEY.com.
Tune in to Sheer Alchemy with Leslie Fontaine on TransformationTalkRadio.com and get ready to stir up your passions, identify your blocks, and shift into an entirely new existence. Leslie Fontaine is a transformation catalyst and clairvoyant who uses her intuitive and energetic gifts to catapult listeners into living the life they were born to live. Whether it's shifting from scarcity to abundance, from emotional pain into joy, or from illness into health, health. Leslie will help you step into the true essence and power of all that you are with the help of the Ascended Masters and Archangels. You will not be the same. Visit TransformationTalkRadio.com for show dates and times and LeslieFontaine.com to say yes to explosive abundance.